Topiary Cat, Chapter 16. A Terrifying Encounter. The paw prints were leading them deeper into the heart of Haythor Wood. Fortunately, the ground here was only covered lightly with leaves, the bracken, brambles and nettles that had hampered their progress up until now having thinned out considerably. Then they heard noises up ahead, a heavy, rhythmic thump, 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 and what sounded like an angry voice, and cries of alarm. In front of them, in a small clearing, was the most extraordinary sight. Bastet, the bronze cat from the glass dome, was prowling in a wide circle around two men, who were crouching in terror before the beast. Instinctively, Grandpa raised the shotgun to his shoulder, and when the animal was nearest to him, fired a shot. The pellets pinged off the metal cat harmlessly, and the trio ducked to avoid the rebounding shrapnel. The creature whirled around to face them. "Ha ha ha! How amusing you mortals are, thinking you can harm an immortal god, you pathetic creatures. I and my cohorts have come here to warn you, not hurt you." She gestured with a dismissive paw to the two cowering men. "I've been trying to get these two silly mortals to hear me, but they're too stupid to understand." Sitting down on her haunches, towering over Grandpa, she adopted the classical pose that befitted her status as an Egyptian god. Richard noted that her jewellery looked even more magnificent than ever, glittering in the moonlight. Glancing briefly at Richard and Tolly, her features softened. Bastet continued. "I have met you two before, but is this your grandfather? I wanted to speak to him, because he might just be able to comprehend the import of what I have to say. Otherwise, I fear there will be dire consequences. Sit." Richard immediately recalled his conversation with Bastet in the form of the Topiary Cat. This time the same commanding instruction invited no dissent. It was an order without the magic word "please," which Richard was always being reminded to use. The three adventurers sat obediently and listened attentively to this awesome cat. The reason for these mysterious events was becoming clearer with every word spoken, and when her lecture was complete she appeared satisfied. With a final warning of the fate that would befall them if they didn't do her bidding, she disappeared into the woods with a contemptuous flick of her magnificent tail. When she had gone, they all rose shakily and began to head back to Nefertum Hall. Baba asked his workers what happened to them before they arrived on the scene. "Well, we was patrolling the grounds when we saw movement in the woods. We followed a crashing sound like heavy footsteps, and we thought it might be thieves we suspected of tampering with the statues. We ended up here in that clearing. Then this weird cat appeared and began circling us. It didn't seem as if it were going to do anything except keep us in this one spot, so we crouched down and we couldn't believe it, but it started talking to us, like it was just now. But we couldn't make out what she was saying at all. It was obviously very important, but it made no sense to us whatsoever. You all seem to understand, though. Why would that be?" Richard thought for a moment and then piped up. "Baba, what is empathy? I have been told you and I have this. I don't know what it means." "It means you have sympathy or an affinity with other living beings. Why do you ask? And who said we have it?" I really don't want to say where I heard it just now, Baba, but maybe that is why we understand what Bastet was telling us." "Could be, I suppose. It seemed absolutely clear to me what she was asking for, and what we have to do about it as well. I think your mother, you, me, and, of course, Tolly, should get together urgently and discuss our next move. I think all of us could do with a good night's sleep. I know I could. I'll come over tomorrow morning before you head off to school." Grandpa turned to the bemused men. "Look, I know you chaps have had a bit of a shock, but perhaps you could hold the fort for me tomorrow. But keep this to yourselves for now. I'll be back to Nefertum well before lunch. We still have lots to get ready for those visiting VIPs. The men wandered off grumbling to each other that nobody would believe them anyway. Don't miss the next chapter of The Topiary Cat, read by Richard Saunders.